Hello, everyone. I'm Kim Woodbury, the director of the Miami Valley Small Business Development Center, and I want to give you some information about the Small Business Relief Grants. These grants open on Monday, November 2nd, so I wanted to make sure you all had the information needed to uh, apply for those grants if you qualify. So Governor DeWine designated up to $125 million of funding that was received from Ohio by the CARES Act, and he will provide $10,000 grants to small businesses to help them through the current crisis. And this is designed to help people who are negatively impacted by the crisis. So these grants, as I said, there'll be $125 million in total funding, which is 12,500 grants. They are flat grants of $10,000. That is the only amount available. And each county will have a minimum of 50 grants. So on November 23rd, the remaining county funds will be redeployed. So if a county doesn't use all of their designated funds for the grants, that money will go back into the pool, and the remaining grants will go to those that are first in line. So the basic eligibility is that you must be a for-profit Ohio-based business. Your company must have been in business with continuous operations since January 1st, 2020. That does not include any time that you're mandated to be shut down for COVID-19 by the governor. So this is, if you've been negatively impacted by COVID-19, you're eligible, and you must have at least one and no more than 25 W-2 wage employees. Those employees can be part-time. So also each application must have a unique EIN or tax ID. If you have a business with one, if you have an EIN with several businesses under that, all under the same EIN, you will only be able to submit one application. So ineligible businesses are nonprofits. These are for-profit businesses. You will not be able to be publicly traded. Clubs like Moose Lodges, etc., are not eligible for these grants. Sexually oriented businesses will not be eligible, and neither will financial institutions. So these funds can be used for personal protective equipment to protect your employees, your customers, or your clients from COVID-19, and measures that you take to protect these employees, customers, or clients from COVID-19. You can use it for mortgage or rent payments for your business premises. Any personal residences are explicitly excluded. So if you have a home-based business and you're using your office, you will not be, you have a personal home office, you will not be able to use that towards your mortgage or rent payments. You can use it for utility payments. That again excludes any utilities for personal residences and any cellular phones that aren't used primarily for business. You can use it for salaries, wages, or compensation that are paid to contractors or employees, including an employer's share of health insurance costs. And you can also use it for business supplies or equipment. So the application process is, first you're going to have to create an Ohio ID account. If you already have one, you're ahead of the game. I don't think a whole lot of people will already have those. That a lot of times that's used for people that have gotten grants through Ohio, but you can go through the process to get one if you don't have one. So you'll also want to gather and prepare information beforehand. This is a first come, first serve application. You want to make sure you're ready on November 2nd at 10 a.m. to go ahead and apply. So again, then the third step is to submit the application. Again, it opens at 10 a.m. November 2nd, and you will submit it using your Ohio ID account, and you'll submit it at businesshelp.ohio.gov. So I wanted to make sure that I understood the process of getting an Ohio ID because I did not have one. So I went through and created one last night. It's a very simple process. You'll go to this URL, https ohioid.ohio.gov /WPS/portal/gov/ohioid/home. So once you go to that URL, this is what the page will look like. This is what the button you'll click on, create Ohio ID, to create your account. If you already have an account, you can log in here using your existing account. So once you click on the create Ohio ID, it's going to ask you for a very little information. Actually, you'll need to provide your name, your date of birth, your last 4 digits of your social security number. You can include your phone numbers in there also, but those are not required. Probably would be a good idea to have something in there, so if they need to contact you, you'll be available. You also need to provide your email address. So you're going to enter that twice. And once you enter your email address, you're going to need to get a validation PIN. So you'll click on this box in the lower right-hand corner, and it will send an email to you that will generate a PIN, then you'll input it and be able to continue with the application. It took a couple minutes for it to get to me last night, so don't panic if it takes if it's not immediate. But once you get it, then you'll be able to continue. Let's go to the next one. Okay, so once you input your PIN, you'll go ahead and create a user ID and a password. The username guidelines are a little different than some of the other ones I have used in the past. It can't start or end in a special character. It does need to have a, if you use a special character, it can't be starting or ending. And those special characters cannot be any more than the 3 here, which are a period, an underscore, a dash, or an @ sign. I made the mistake initially of putting an exclamation point in. That does not work. It has to be only one of these 4 characters. So with your password guidelines, it must contain one from each of the categories: uppercase letters, lowercase letters, numbers, and a special character. The requirement that it is not beginning or ending does not apply on this section. And you can't use your name or your username in there. So you'll click that and continue. And the bottom of the page, you will have to agree to the terms and conditions, which I'll read. So the terms and conditions are: in order to proceed with this request, you must agree to the following terms and conditions. By clicking I agree and creating an Ohio ID citizen, business, or workforce profile, you consent to use electronic signatures with the state of Ohio and receive communication in electronic form. If you use the site, you're responsible for maintaining the confidentiality of your Ohio ID account and password, and for restricting access to your computer. And you agree to accept responsibility for all activities that occur under your Ohio ID account or password. The Ohio Department of Administrative Services reserves the right to refuse service, terminate accounts, remove or edit content, or cancel transactions. So we read that, you'll agree to the terms, and then there's a verification CAPTCHA question that you'll fill in and create an account. This is not always the same question. I did this wrong and I generated a new question that was a different, it was asking about a color. So that will change with each application. So you'll click on create an account, And once you create an account, this page will come up. Show you that you have successfully created your Ohio ID account. And then you'll be able to go and use that for your application. Okay, so the next step is to gather and prepare information. So the key information you're going to need for the page 1 of the application is your tax ID or your EIN number. You need to give a breakdown of the funding you got from other pandemic relief programs. This probably doesn't have to be exact if you're not totally sure, but it should be very close. And those relief programs could be federal, state, or local, and the number of W-2 employees that you have as of January 1st, 2020. And that can be either a direct headcount or a full-time employee calculation. And if you're using the full-time employee calculation, you should use your total W-2 compensated hours for 2019 and then divide that by 2080, which are the number of hours in a year. Okay, so you're also going to need to gather some attachments. You'll have 3 attachments that are required. You'll have to show proof of your W-2 employees, proof of business that you've had business costs in the past 60 days, and your most recent tax return. The attachments must be uploaded separately, so don't scan them all into one PDF and submit. Have 3 different PDFs that you upload separately. So the attachment for your W-2 wages, and again, that's going to verify that you have at least 1 and no more than 25 W-2 employees. You only need 1 type of verification. And the acceptable documents are payroll records from the period that included January 1st, 2020, or a copy of any year-end documentation, the calendar year 2019, filled in or filed with the Ohio Department of Taxation. Another choice is the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services Unemployment Tax Quarterly Report for year end, which would be, again, calendar year 2019, or your Ohio Bureau of Workmen's Compensation policy for 2019. So those are the 4 types of verification that you'll need to choose from and prepare to upload. Okay, so your business costs. What is acceptable for verification of business costs? You only need 1 type of verification again. You can use payroll records for any period in the last 60 days before the application. Utility bills that you've charged to the business named in the business that's named in the application for any period in the last 60 days prior to the application. Rent or mortgage payments for business premises, not residential. Supplies or equipment purchased by, leased, financed, or charged to the business. And one thing I did want to stress too, they're not looking for you to provide $10,000 worth of business costs. This is just to prove that you've been in business. So there's no minimum. If you submit a utility bill and it's not $10,000, that's fine. There is no minimum. This is just to verify that you were actually in business. Okay, you'll also need to attach your tax return. It can be your state or federal return. And if you're a single member LLC that does your taxes on your personal 1040, you should also include your Schedule C or F, depending which one you have, so that you can identify the business name. That will tie the LLC business name to your tax. So they'll be able to verify that you are an LLC. Okay, so the application submissions, again, they open 10 a.m. on November 2nd. Once you successfully apply, you'll receive an auto response that it's been completed, and then it'll be reviewed manually by state employees. Now, a warning, make sure that you submit a complete and accurate application, because incomplete or inaccurate applications will be rejected, and then you'll have to resubmit it and you'll go to the back of the line again. So make sure before you go through the submission process that you have everything complete and accurate. Uh, it was suggested that there's been people that have scanned things backward and put in actually a blank document that will be inaccurate or incomplete. So make sure that all your scanned documents can be read so you can submit those, and then any other information is accurate so that you don't get rejected and have to reapply. So the application approval, after you're approved, the business will receive an email notification, and then you'll have 7 days to log back into the system to certify eligibility and accept funds. So you'll need to make sure you're monitoring that email for when you get notification that of approval, because if you don't complete this final action, it'll be rejected. So you need to keep monitoring your emails because once you get the email, you have 7 days to certify your eligibility and accept funds. And once you do that, a check will be issued to your mailing address. You will be required to sign that you certify that what you've submitted is true before you accept the funds. So that's that. Okay. So when you get the grant, you need to do some maintenance of your records. So you have to retain records for all the specific expenses that you use funds for. You need to keep these records 5 years from the date that of the final expenditure of your funds. These records are going to be included, but are not limited to paid invoices, canceled checks, payroll records, and any other documentation that you get when you make the expense or when you pay the expense. Some additional information. Remember that it's first come, first served. So you want to apply early and apply accurately. All approved businesses are subject to audit, so make sure that you are truthful and complete with your information. Again, only one application per tax ID. And the list of recipients will be public record. So people will be able to see that the business received this grant. However, no confidential information will be disclosed. So you don't have to worry that a tax ID or a social security number or tax documents will be public record. It will not be. Okay, so I'm going to move to the Bar and Restaurant Assistance Fund. This is also part of the initiative that Governor DeWine is launching. So the details are that it's a $2,500 grant, and it is specifically for any current on-premise consumption liquor license holder. So if you are a restaurant or bar that serves alcohol on premise, you will qualify. If you are just a carryout, you would not qualify because that's not a on-premise consumption liquor license. I'll show you the list of the types of liquor licenses that qualify in the next slide, but you might be a grocery store with a tasting application or a tasting license, and that would apply. So you can stack this with your small business relief grant. So if you apply for the previous $10,000, you could get both, and that would be $12,500 total. It is actually the same application. There is a, a place on the application for you to put that information in. So each establishment with the liquor license is eligible. So even if you have, if you don't, if not all of your entities or all of your locations qualify for the $10,000 because you are use one EIN, each application is still eligible for this $25,000 grant. So if your bar or restaurant doesn't qualify for the small business relief grant, you'll fill out only the fields that apply on that application. It's pretty simple. So these are the list of eligible liquor permit holders, and you should probably know what type of liquor license you have. If you're uncertain, on the next page here, we have, you can go to this URL and do a search to find the status, the type and status number of your liquor license. So that's the information that you'll have. Okay, so that's all I have for today. As we get more information, I'll make sure that I push that out. I have not actually seen the application. It is not available until November 2nd. So if you do have questions, uh, or if you want to look at the full terms and conditions, because I just highlighted it, you can go to this URL, which is businesshelp.ohio.gov /small business relief grant.html. And that is it. I hope this helped, and I will give you information as we get it. Thank you so much.